Hello everyone. So today's a mostly sunny day in the upper 30s, maybe low 40s. And we've had some roof leaks that I think we've showed you before that have got to our floor inside. So today with the sun out, I'm gonna take advantage of that and I'm gonna get up on the roof and fix some of the leaks that are up there. One of them's here in this back corner in the closet. I think you guys have seen that leak. I'm not expecting to see any holes or anything over the windows because we know that that was water coming in the window well through the air conditioners. So I'm just gonna look at that spot, and we have a leak that's over top of our kitchen vent for our stove vent. So I'm gonna take a look at that and fix that today. So stick around.
So when I get up here on the roof, I notice that the tin roof doesn't have any cracks along the edge, and it folds and goes underneath this little rain gutter. The tan siding tucks under the roof and the white siding tucks under the tan, so there's no leaks.
Well, after getting on the roof and looking around on this back corner of the house, I didn't really see any obvious leaks. I don't think that it's leaking from up there. I put a little bit of seal around the corner just in case.
Inside the trailer, I decided to pull a narrow area of sheetrock out of the corner of the closet so I could inspect the walls and see if there was any kind of damage. After removing a good portion of the sheetrock, I pull back the insulation to inspect the wall behind it. Everything's dry, don't see any mold growing up the wall, so I put it back in place and continue to pull out some of the staples so that I can replace it later. I need to turn my attention back to the outside and see where it's leaking at the floor.
I pulled a piece of sheetrock out of the corner of that, and it confirmed what I thought is it's not leaking from the roof, it's leaking around the floor. And so the sheetrock was dry, the insulation behind the sheetrock was dry, the wall was dry, but the floor was wet. So I came back outside here and I got down here and I pressed on this, and it's fully pulled away from the bottom and water came out. And so I think that it's just a bad seal. The water's running down the side of it and then getting down in underneath it and getting that corner of the floor wet. So once I replace the floor, I'll run a couple extra screws into this to kind of tighten it up so that nothing will get in underneath it, and I think that'll fix the problem. Stick around because I'm going to show you next the vent seal up on top of the house over top of the kitchen and how I fix that so that that won't leak anymore.
So here we are at the top of the roof vent, and immediately you can see that this old seal is just rotting away. As I continue to pull pieces away, I can see that there are multiple layers. The bottom layer is so dry and rotten that there's no way to stop any water from getting inside. I'm going to take this all the way down to the bare metal and start fresh. I'm getting closer to being finished, but there are a lot of scrap pieces and debris on top that I'm going to have to get rid of. I'm going to use my newly installed outdoor light outlet feature to attach an extension cord and run it over to the top of the roof. Now I'll lug this shop back up and help me clean up some of the debris. There are many pieces that are too big for the shop vac, so I'll load them up in this old coffee can I found, take them down and dump them out. Then I can get all the small pieces with the vacuum. With the bulk of the material away, I can get into some of the finer cleanup. The edges of the roof have a lot of old sealant that I need to remove just to make sure that there's no cracks that I need to put new stuff on top of. All in all, it looks pretty good and I don't see any cracks. Now it's time to remove the screws from the top of the vent and see what it looks like underneath. And I find another layer of old failed sealant. I've got to get rid of this stuff too so I can get down to the good metal. The insulation was really wet, and even when I pushed on the roof, water squirted out of one of the screw holes. The last bit of cleanup will be done with a fine razor blade so that I can make sure that there's a good seal. I've got to make sure to get the bottom of the vent flap as well. Now it's time to lay down a good seal under the flap. I'm using all new self-tapping screws so that I can make sure that these do a good job. They should do well to hold the flap nice and tight. Now I'll apply a secondary top seal that'll keep all the edges from letting water in. And then finally a hardening roof tar. I figure with these 3 layers, I shouldn't have to worry about water intrusion over our kitchen anytime soon. This step was pretty satisfying to apply. And here we have the final product. Come join us again to see what project we tackle next.